Hi, I'm Jayne Schatz. Today we're going to be working with slabs. I made this dinnerware set about 10 years ago, and I really enjoy using it. The lunch plate fits nicely inside the dinner plate. It has a little bit of a rise, not much, and then once again, as you can see, it gives me a beautiful canvas to do my color field painting. I call it color field painting because that's what it is. But basically, you know what I'm doing. I'm pouring one glaze over another glaze over a third glaze to achieve this effect. I call this my tricolor ketchup red. So let me show you how I made these molds. Again, very creative molds. I don't work with a lathe. I don't work with lots of powerful tools. I do work with hand power tools, but I used to have a table saw, but when I moved to this studio, I left that home and I brought only my hand electric tools. So making molds like this are perfect for someone who just wants to get it together and not have to spend too much time and energy making molds. I work with two types of wood. The rim, which is this part of the mold, is the first lower piece, and then the eating area is the inner piece. You might be hearing my little cat, Matisse. He so desperately wants to come in, but he can't. So here is my mold. What I did is I took a piece of masonite, and my handy dandy way of covering it with cloth with masking tape, because it's very hard to staple into this kind of wood. So I just tape it. Then I took a 1/2 inch ply and cut it, and you can see if I had it all marked down with the ruler. So I created this exact, I think I have an inch border, and this was an inch all around smaller than the ridge. I made my plate. Then with that same mind, I wanted to have my lunch plate fit into my dinner plate, so that basically the rim was the same size as the inner part of the dinner plate mold. And again, I used the masonite for the base and the 1/2 inch ply for the depth. You're going to be placing it like this, and it's going to fall over, so you have to think of molds in reverse. So where this is not the top, this is actually the base. Okay? I think you understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to demonstrate how to do this. I'm going to use the luncheon plate just because it's easier to roll out a small slab for the demonstration. But they both get done the same way. What I do is put the mold on upright to cut out the size that I want. So again, like I told you before, hold down on the template or the mold so it doesn't shimmy. Oh, I'm sorry, Matisse, but you cannot come in. And then I outline my form. Now, the reason why I do this is because this is going to be exact. This is not going to be free form. This is going to be a square form. I like the cleanness of this, but think about it. A beautiful altered rim dinnerware set would be a gorgeous thing to have. It's just that this fits in my china cabinet well. It goes right against the wall, and there are advantages to washing it. Everything I use is dishwasher safe. So I just wanted a very clean cut dinnerware set. So I've got my slab. While I'm down here, remember always gently clean up the bottom of your edge. Now put your mold back in the correct position. Now take your time and get this right. Now, unfortunately, my board is a little wet, so it might stick releasing it. It's better if I should have flipped it onto a drier board, but for demonstrations, this will be fine. Then I'm going to flip it, and because I don't want it to shimmy, I'm going to lift it off slowly. There we go. And then once it releases, I can pop it off. Now, before I press, I make sure that it's all lined up, and it is. Now, you can press this two ways. You can press it gently and just get a draped plate, as you saw with all of my platters that I do. And I tell you, if I were to make this dinnerware set again, I would do it that way because I have an exact one and I like the way this looks. But for those of you that, and this is also nice to have an exact edge. Exact meaning inside here you see the depression. That is very nice to have with a dinnerware set. It makes for consistency and it enables it to stack really nicely. And on the table, I put this in with a beige tablecloth and black napkins, and it really looks sharp. So I'm going to take this and start moving the clay onto my mold. And then with my hand, I'm going to go a little bit more exact. And start pressing in. Now what's going to happen is that it's going to spread out a little bit at the four corners. So you will need to do some adjustment. Now don't go press too hard. You can cut through the edge. And then here once again, press this in. Now I move my hand like this so I don't get finger marks. Again, it's giving me a very nice depression. Okay, now, what I said before, you're going to get a little bit of an excess coming out. Take your knife and just go straight. And do that on all four sides. Cut off that little piece that got stretched out. And it'll be nice and even. And then we're back to where we were before. You're going to, this is a hump mold. So again, you want to release it from the mold before it gets too dry or it will crack. The clay will crack around the mold. If you release it too soon, it will collapse. So like I showed you before, you're going to have to regulate and keep looking at it till you see the consistency of your studio. Every time you do a plate, it should be the same. If you want to make several molds, so you can do like say 4 plates at once, then you have just do them again. You'll have 8 in 2 days. Or like me, who is a little tired of doing some of this repetitious work, I do a mold and then I do something else. And the next day I do another one and I do something else. It could take me a long time to get a dinnerware set, but I haven't spent the day putting these little pieces on top of each other. If you like to work that way, make several molds. If you like to work the way I work, make one mold, of each size. I would do a dinner plate and a luncheon plate. Then the next day I would release it, do another dinner plate and luncheon plate, and give myself 2 weeks to make a dinnerware set, while I have only spent maybe a half hour making the 2 plates, and I have the rest of the day to either work on the wheel or on my extruder or roll out lots of slabs and do other kind of work. So figure out how you like to work, and I'm going to let this dry and then I'm going to pop it out so you can see what it looks like. I forgot to mention one thing. When you get your 2 forms, your plywood and your masonite, just glue them to each other. I didn't mention that you have to glue them. I don't nail them. Remember, masonite you can't nail into it or anything, but one piece over another piece, in fact I used a glue gun. Very simple. You can use other glues, but I found the glue gun to be fabulous. Okay, I have let this dry, and now I'm just going to pull it out, and you can just take another board, lift this up, and you've got a beautiful dinnerware plate. And it's just started. Remember, you want to clean your edges, clean it perfectly, and you can just pop out plate after plate after plate. Remember, this is a flat plate. You want this to sit on the table and not rock. So you take your paper towel, and I usually cut it a little bit smaller for this. Lay it in here. Okay, you want to get your weights and weigh them down. I would do probably these two would be sufficient. And I would leave it like this until it gets dry. When it's leather hard, when it's really nice and stiff, I'll take the weights off and I'll start working on my rim and clean that all up. But then I will put this back on, put the weights on, and I will leave it like this until it is dry. Then they will be perfect to go into the kiln. So enjoy your dinnerware set. I have for many, many years, and every time I've had company over, they have loved eating off of the dinnerware set. And make sure that you're using glazes that can go through the dishwasher and will last you for a long time, so that you will have this beautiful dinnerware set for many, many years. I just want to show you some other slabs that I made, just the same way I made the dinnerware set. I have a beautiful rectangular serving platter. When I make a large chicken or meat, lots of chops or anything, I can serve this to my company with this tray. I love using this tray. It goes in the dishwasher and has a nice enough of a height that my hands can get under it. This is one of my favorite trays. It's an hors d'oeuvre tray, and I did it with a mold, and I did an exact edge, and then I went further, meaning I just made my slab go out a little bit further. Notice on both of these that the rims are very altered compared to the strict squareness of the dinnerware set. Usually when I make serving platters, I like to have fun, and I like to extend the rims and play with the rims. Remember, the mold is just the beginning of your form. You can go anywhere with the form. I just want to show you what the molds to these look like. This one was the mold for this piece. It's set in here, and as you could see, I went beyond the rim where it was altered, but pressed it so that you got this rim as if it was the dinnerware plate, but it went a little further. And I had fun with it by making it at a sharp angle. I love this hors d'oeuvre plate. This one is the mold I made for my serving platters. I make them out of porcelain, out of stoneware. I decorate them in all different kinds of ways. As you can see this with my porcelain glaze, it's brush stroke, and with this one, it's with poured different glazes. Again, it's nice and sturdy. I've got my 1/2-inch ply glued to my masonite, and both are covered with cloth. These molds I've been using for 15 years. They last. They never wear out. They don't get damaged like plaster. They weigh nothing. I can put them high on a shelf because they're lightweight, and I just love using them. I really hope you enjoy working with this kind of a mold. You'll be making all different kinds of shapes to fit your needs. Make triangular ones. It doesn't matter what shape you make. Just cut them with a jigsaw or a saber saw, and cover them with cloth, and make some beautiful, beautiful platters for your line of work.